to Orion Clemens and wife in Keokuk, Iowa. St. Louis, March 9th, 1858. Dear brother and sister, I must take advantage of the opportunity now presented to write you, but I shall necessarily be dull, as I feel uncommonly stupid. We have had a hard trip this time. Left St. Louis 3 weeks ago on the Pennsylvania. The weather was very cold and the ice running densely. We got 15 miles below town, landed the boat, and then one pilot. Second mate and 4 deckhands took the sounding boat and shoved out in the ice to hunt the channel. They failed to find it, and the ice drifted them ashore. The pilot left the men with the boat and walked back to us 1.5 miles. Then the other pilot and myself, with a larger crew of men, started out and met with the same fate. We had drifted ashore just below the other boat. Then the fun commenced. We made fast a line 20 fathoms long to the bow of the yawl and put the men, both crews, to it like horses on the shore. Brown, the pilot, stood in the bow with an oar to keep her head out, and I took the tiller. We would start the men, and all would go well, till the yawl would bring up on a heavy cake of ice, and then the men would drop like so many 10-pins, while Brown assumed the horizontal in the bottom of the boat. After an hour's hard work, we got back with ice 1/2 inch thick on the oars. Sent back and warped up the other yawl, and then George, the first-mentioned pilot, and myself took a double crew of fresh men and tried it again. This time we found the channel in less than half an hour and landed on an island till the Pennsylvania came along and took us off. The next day was cold as steel. I was out in the yawl twice, and then we got through, but the infernal steamboat came near running over us. We went 10 miles further, landed, and George and I cleared out again. Found the channel first trial, but got caught in the gorge and drifted helplessly down the river. The ocean spray came along and started into the ice after us, but although she didn't succeed in her kind intention of taking us aboard, her waves washed us out, and that was all we wanted. We landed on an island, built a big fire, and waited for the boat. She started and ran aground. It commenced raining and sleeting, and a very interesting time we had on that barren sandbar for the next 4 hours, when the boat got off and took us aboard. The next day was terribly cold. We sounded Hat Island, warped up around a bar, and sounded again. But in order to understand our situation, you will have to read Dr. Kane. It would have been impossible to get back to the boat, but the Maria Denning was aground at the head of the island. They hailed us, we ran alongside, and they hoisted us in and thawed us out. We had then been out in the yawl from 4 o'clock in the morning till 9:30 without being near a fire. There was a thick coating of ice over men, yawl, ropes, and everything else, and we looked like rock candy statuary. We got to St. Louis this morning after an absence of 3 weeks. That boat generally makes the trip in 2. Henry was doing little or nothing here, and I sent him to our clerk to work his way for a trip by measuring wood piles, counting coal boxes, and other clerkly duties, which he performed satisfactorily. He may go down with us again, for I expect he likes our bill of fare better than that of the boarding house. I got your letter at Memphis as I went down. That is the best place to write me at. The post office here is always out of my route somehow or other. Remember the direction. SLC, steamer Pennsylvania, care Duval and Algeo, wharf boat Memphis. I cannot correspond with the paper because when one is learning the river, he is not allowed to do or think about anything else. I'm glad to see you in such high spirits about the land, and I hope you will remain so if you never get richer. I seldom venture to think about our landed wealth, for hope deferred maketh the heart sick. I did intend to answer your letter, but I am too lazy and too sleepy now. We have had a rough time during the last 24 hours working through the ice between Cairo and St. Louis, and I have had but little rest. I got here too late to see the funeral of the 10 victims by the burning of the Pacific Hotel on 7th Street. Ma says there were 10 hearses with the fire companies, their engines in mourning, firemen in uniform, the various benevolent societies in uniform and mourning, and a multitude of citizens and strangers, forming altogether a procession of 30,000 persons. One steam fire engine was drawn by 4 white horses with crape festoons on their heads. Well, I am just about asleep. Your brother, Sam.